I just wanted to update you on what's been happening lately, and we'll get into that after this.
Bullcrap Legal Associates proudly sponsor Life Afterlife Productions. Have you had an accident in the last 6 months and don't know where to turn to? Here at Bullcrap Legal Associates, we pride ourselves on giving you the best and honest legal advice. If you are a clumsy idiot, we will tell you and advise you on your next steps to take. So, remember, Bullcrap Legal Associates, here to take the piss, because we can. Open Monday to Friday, when we can be bothered, and close most days because we actually don't give a fuck. So remember, Bullcrap Legal Associates, proudly taking the piss out of people, and taking their money since 2021. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, it's been a while since I've been on camera, and a lot has happened in the last little while. First of all, I want to thank Peninsula Paranormal for inviting us on their investigations. Unfortunately, we couldn't go. I've had a little bit of a mishap with the car and a number of other things that didn't help the situation. But we're sort of looking sort of trying to look positive about it. Unfortunately, now the car has got too many things wrong with it to economically fix. So it's an opportunity to get a vehicle that's suited to what I do. Possibly something with a bigger boot or a van, I don't know. Because I have a mobility scooter that I haven't been able to use since I moved here because I used to leave the mobility scooter down on the ground floor, and the free range children of the area used to try and steal it. So I've had to bring it up here. And obviously I can't carry it up and down the stairs. It's a real heavy machine. So maybe something that I can push it into it and I can get around a little bit more. But we are Rachel was looking forward to the investigation as well. And unfortunately, if I can't go, Rachel can't go. And as far as I know, it was last night, Saturday night. I hope the investigation went well. We were looking forward to it because we haven't been out in so long. But life had thrown me a bit of a curveball. But hopefully things will get back on track soon. I haven't been doing sessions in the last week or so. Yes, sessions are going out on my second channel, but they're all pre-recorded, and I timed them into a slot when I can find a slot, and basically I have everything sort of filled up till about Christmas time, so that channel is basically running on its own at the moment. Haven't done anything on this one, and I feel kind of bad because since I started the channel, I've been consistent, and it got me out and everything, and lately it made me think that when you sort of when you have these kind of challenges, you begin to think of the things that you take for granted, sort of thing. So, the last year and a half, not much investigations and stuff, and wishing I could get out and stuff like that. And my health hasn't been great. Been in a lot of pain. But the upside is, it's kind of eased in the last week, so I'm feeling a little bit more positive, sort of thing. Do you know? And in regard to sessions and stuff, yeah, I had this timetable where I got up every morning, turned the computer on, and then I would turn the kettle on and have my first cup of tea and sit down and have a session. And I done that nearly every day in that. But there is a time where you have to sit down and say, well, can I change it up? Can I change the routine? And that's the process that I'm going through at the moment. What can I do different? What can I change? You know? But, at the same time, a session is a session. It's trying to get that communication that you want. And it's not always sort of YouTube friendly. It's not always engaging in that, and that's why I wanted to do this video today, I've always wanted to try and make my own spirit box, and I have limited electronic experience, but I've tried my hand at it, and it kind of works. It needs some more work. It kind of scans a bit too fast, and I wanted it similar to a box that I wanted that never got delivered, Paranormal.com. But I grew up with a mechanical mind rather than an electronic mind. And, I do spirit box sessions with hacked radios, and I have real radios where I do a manual sweep. And I thought way back, what if I replaced the manual turning of the hand with something mechanical? And it came to me one day when I was looking at it was a hobbyist channel. It was to do with railways, and a servo that was opening and closing a warehouse door that was, this guy had this big train set with all the farm, all the buildings and stuff, and houses and cars and stuff like that. So what I did was I connected a controller to a servo that's connected to the variable resistor in the radio, so it turns the radio over and back. This tester turns the servo over and back at whatever speed that you want. This second servo turns at the same time and sort of turns the dial. To me, it's just a kind of a bit of a decoration, but there's two servos in it. It runs on FM. The reason why it doesn't run on AM as well is because when I took the innards out of the previous radio, I broke the AM coil, and the AM coil on an FM radio you have your telescopic aerial, but on the AM band you have this coil, and that is wound very, very precise. But I actually broke that coil and I can't replace it. So basically I have an AM band with no antenna in it, but it might be useful for EVPs or direct radio voice or whatever, So, when it's scanning over and back, it's just going to come up with static. It shouldn't come up with anything. It's made of wood, and what I thought I didn't have the paint that I wanted. And then I thought to myself, I got a bucket of sand that I use for my rock tumbler and stuff like that, and I resined on the sand, and it makes it look sort of stone and that. So that is basically it. Right, obviously, my main source of sort of entertainment here at home, as I don't have Netflix or anything like that, so it's all YouTube for me. And I go into phases of looking at different kinds of channels, not just the paranormal. And in fact, over the last couple of years, I've been looking at less and less of the paranormal content and looking at other stuff in regard to science, in regard to other things, cars, airsoft. And lately, I've actually been looking into the debates over flat Earth, and these channels that debate flat earthers. And I've been binge watching a couple of channels. Creaky Blinder is one of the channels. Simon Dan, I was already watching his. I just got these other channels from that channel, and Fight the Flat Earth. A lot of debates around that channel, and Fight the Flat Earth is. He's a nuclear engineer. He was a nuclear engineer in the Royal Navy. So he's well educated. He knows his stuff, and he's very, very good at debating. And if he is sort of disrespected in any way, he knows how to deal with it, and he finds that little spot where it annoys the opposition, and he'll go for it. But if you watch a channel like the Creaky Blinder, Simon Dan, or Fight the Flat Earth, and you watch some of the streams, some of the videos, you will find how stupid some people in YouTube really are, and some of the information that has been put out there, and that's just in flat earth circles alone. When it comes to the paranormal, is exactly the same. In every community, there's complete and utter nut jobs. And this is why, when you're doing research, the last place that you want to look is YouTube. In fact, there's very, very little paranormal research on YouTube. There's some older stuff on that, but very, very few content creators solely based on paranormal research, because it's kind of boring, actually, because it's not YouTube. It's not entertaining work. So a lot of the stuff that we experiment on, and put our cameras on, and that, it's not something you want on YouTube. It's not going to be this is an entertaining platform after all, and that's why you've like I said, the flat earthers and that, and the flat earth debaters. The debates are entertaining in itself, but when it comes to the paranormal, yes, you have people are into the ghost hunting, and people going out to investigate every night or whatever. you know, if you're been into the paranormal for a number of years, you'll know by now that every night someone goes out, they're not going to get stuff. It's just that's just the way it is. But the more they go out, the more chances they have of getting stuff. So when you're doing your research, it's important that you do your own research. I've made mistakes in the past. I've gone on another YouTuber's information, and it turned out it was completely wrong. And I didn't realize it was completely wrong until I gained a bit of knowledge myself and figured out that the information was misleading at best. So, you know, I've had to delete videos, you know, at times. But it was a lesson learned that don't just take somebody else's word for it, especially on YouTube. Because at the end of the day, YouTube is about a entertaining platform, and very often the primary focus is on views and subs, and in some cases a business, you know. And that is where the conflict of interest sometimes happens. I've done videos on the Panasonic DR60, and I've done those videos based on somebody else's information that turned out to be not as accurate as I first thought. And the reason I found that out is because I know a audio engineer that's actually working with that recorder right now, and the information conflicts with the information that I had got at the time. So that is the importance of doing research for yourself, finding the right sources, and all that kind of stuff. You know, people ask me lately, you know, have I become an unbeliever? Because I'm very skeptical of a lot of things. And yeah, I've become a lot more skeptic, but it's not that I don't believe. It's just I don't. A lot of the stuff that I've been seeing, that I've been shown in the past, and that a lot of the things that I believed were paranormal had turned out not to be paranormal at all. You know, and the more you sort of grow with this, the more skeptical you become. And I'm not sort of, I don't look into sort of going to a paranormal investigation. Right, we're going to get nothing today, but we'll give it a shot anyway. We genuinely want to try and get something that's good, get something that's credible. But with time, you sort of you become more sort of critical of your own methods and your own, what you've picked up, what you've learned, what your bad habits and stuff like that, and the equipment you've used and stuff like that. You know, what's my opinion on equipment. You know, the equipment that we use that you would commonly see in a paranormal investigation, I think we need to step up a gear a bit with this, because at the end of the day it's sort of science, and time and time again you'll see an investigation and you'll see people picking up EMF readings, but we never try and trace where the EMF is coming from. You know, in other words, the equipment that we're using is doing half a job and we don't do the other half. REM pods. You get responses on REM pods. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that entity or force coming from? 9 times out of 10, we don't investigate that either. And that's what goes around in my head a lot. How can we trace what's possibly affecting certain devices? And then, you have people that would say, always back up one device with another device, which is very, very true. But in the case of EMF is transmitted everywhere. It's very, very easy to get caught up in a it muddies the waters, You have radio signals, you have TV signals, you've got phone signals, you've got everything like that. That is some of the things that muddies the waters, and that's what we want to do in the future is try and eliminate those possibilities. Now, I know there was one guy who was talking about he's got this device and it tells you exactly what that signal is, which is kind of useful and sort of needed in the paranormal, Yes, I understand ghost hunters that just want to get reactions and they want to get K2 hits or, REM pod responses to questions and responses on spirit boxes and that. But is there something else that we can do? We have to sort of think about that all the time, how to move forward with this, And that's where sort of science is badly needed. But the thing is, scientists get paid a lot of money. And who's going to pay scientists to investigate the paranormal? And why should they investigate the paranormal? Is it beneficial to the world we live in right now? Because we have scientists in NASA and other scientists doing other things and get paid a lot of money. There's a big budget in some of these experiments and that, but is to improve mankind. Is investigating the paranormal improving mankind? And the other part of it is the paranormal, how did they get their money back? In the case of Skinwalker Ranch, it was the owner of Skinwalker Ranch who bought Skinwalker Ranch who got these scientists in to investigate it. But that was filmed for the History Channel. So there's money generated through that. That is probably one of the reasons why science doesn't get involved in the paranormal. Because at the end of the day, you have to ask the question, what does it benefit us in the world now? And how would they get the money back that they spent investigating the paranormal? Because in the science world, time is money. I think one of the reasons why, we investigate the paranormal is we all know somebody that has passed away belonged to us. And at some stage, we are going to pass away ourselves. And we would like to know if there is a different world that we pass into when we leave this world. And that is the main... I think that is one of the main reasons for investigating the paranormal. And, and in a many ways, it's left to us that are interested in the paranormal, but may only have expertise in one specific field, and you know the saying goes that there's no experts in the paranormal. There's only experts in separate different fields, and you know, most of those expertise come from, you know, audio and visual experts that only basically investigate the paranormal on a part-time basis as a pastime or hobby, something that they are passionate and interested in their spare time. And you know, mainstream science, I don't see the incentive for mainstream science to get involved as much because of, at the end of the day, time is money. You know, when we're talking about scientific experiments and scientific discoveries generate revenue. You know, the big question I would ask is, where does that revenue come from discovering the paranormal world? What is in it for mankind and the scientists? They, you know, the money that comes in has to come from somewhere, and the money fed into projects has to come from somewhere. And that is kind of lacking in the paranormal in a way. And that is why I think mainstream science doesn't get involved in the paranormal as much. Yes, you can have mainstream science look into equipment and inventing equipment, but that would be a very limited source of income, to be honest. And that is, you know, that is sort of, yes, there's people that specialize in that, but in general, we're talking about hobbyists and people that are just passionate about the subject itself. And, you know, mainstream science usually shies away from this subject. And the other side of it is too, it is very, very difficult in science because there is people that are interested and have backgrounds in science that investigate the paranormal, yet they're not getting answers. So it is a kind of a, it's one of the more trickier things to get involved in, because as long as people have been doing this, we've only touched about 2 or 3% of it, you know. And that is a strange phenomenon in itself. You know, in our live shows, we've had a lot of discussions on a lot of different topics. Some topics I knew about, some topics I had no clue about. Some topics I wasn't particularly interested in, but I learned something about them all the same. But we are, you know, I'm going to try and get back on track with those. It's just that lately, life had thrown a curveball, and it kind of it put me off track for a while, and I didn't really want to come on camera, you know, and hopefully we can get the team back together, you know, to do our discussions and stuff, because we were starting to develop a really good thing here, you know, where we had great discussions and great talks about different subjects and stuff like that. And with all of that, you know, we've learned a lot too, because each person had a different skill, you know, and possibly we could develop that and bring in other people as guests and stuff, and we could learn from them, and that would be brilliant as well. So hopefully we can get back on track with those, you know. You know, I was enjoying my Ghosts and Coffee, morning talks and stuff like that. I'm going to try and get back on those. But, send positive vibes my way because I really need it right now. But every time I face challenges, I always seem to be saved at the 11th hour sort of thing, But I'm gonna go. I've blabbered on enough, and hopefully I will talk to you real soon. And the channel's still growing. And I'm very very grateful for everybody that's part of the community, and that it's really been a massive help. I'm gonna go because my dog is at my feet begging for a treat as usual. So I will talk to you again real soon. Thanks. Bye.
Here at Life Afterlife Productions, we would like to thank you all for allowing us to waste your time today. We certainly hope you enjoyed the bullshit we had to offer, and hope to see you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.